So it's currently January 2026, and if you're exactly like how I was years ago, then it's your New Year's resolution to finally learn home bartending and enter the world of mixology. If that sounds like you, then this is the correct video because I'm going to be showing you exactly what you need to finally get started with home bartending in the year 2026. My name is Ron Verpen. I'm a full-time medical doctor, and I've been a home bartender for over 5 years now. During that time, I've learned how to make over 100 different cocktails, and I've thrown over 50 cocktail parties. And I teach other busy professionals how to make cocktails at home. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you all exactly what you need to finally get started with home bartending and enter the world of mixology this year, in the year 2026. And I feel very qualified to talk about this topic because, like you all, it was my New Year's resolution to get started on home bartending, not this year, but actually many years before this. I finally made the push in June 2020 and made my very first cocktail and could finally call myself a home bartender. But I would say in the previous 5 to 6 years before that, I had thought about getting into home bartending at least 2 or 3 different times, and I always found myself getting overwhelmed. I always thought that you needed to buy 15 to 20 different pieces of equipment, buy 10 to 15 different bottles of alcohol, and buy all these different juices and syrups and mixers and sodas and things like that. And on top of that, I thought you also needed to go out and buy 5 to 10 different books to really understand home bartending and learn everything there is to know about cocktails and mixology and everything there is out there. And really, that's a little too overwhelming. I would say it's actually very overwhelming. And the reason I started this channel was because nobody else on YouTube is doing anything like I'm doing. Nobody else is teaching bartending specifically to home bartenders. And not only that, specifically to home bartenders that have very busy personal lives, professional lives, or both, like I myself have, and like you all that are watching probably have as well. You know, bartending is not the focus of your life. It's not your job. It's not your number one thing that's going on in your life. You have busy personal lives. Maybe you're in a relationship, or you have family, or you have kids or something like that, or you have a busy professional life. You have a very demanding job in tech or corporate or finance or medicine like myself, or anything like that. Or you have some mix of the two. You have a busy personal life and professional life, but you still want to learn home bartending. You want it to be a very important hobby, and you don't want to get overwhelmed by the fact that all the other home bartending YouTubers, all the other sources on the internet and books and things like that will tell you that you need all these different bottles of alcohol. They'll tell you need all these different pieces of equipment, all these different ways of getting ice, all these different books, everything like that. In my opinion, that's just way too overwhelming, especially for a home bartender. You just want to be able to make a couple cocktails every now and then to, relax after a busy day at work, or maybe you want to have a date night with your partner, or maybe you want to just have a small party with some of your coworkers or other friends, things like that. If you're like myself, that's all you really want with home bartending. You don't want to, have a job where you're working in a bar. You don't want to be throwing parties constantly where you're making tons of different cocktails all the time. You really just want this to be a nice little hobby. You make a few cocktails every now and then. You enjoy those cocktails with your loved ones. You throw a party every now and then where you're able to share your cocktails and have fun with your loved ones, your friends, and your family, and things like that. If that sounds like you, then I think it's a great New Year's resolution to finally get into home bartending. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys exactly what you need to get started. I really think there's 3 different areas. 1 is going to be equipment, 2 is going to be ingredients, and then finally 3 is going to be content. So I would say when you're really getting started with tools and bar equipment, there's really only 4 tools that you need to finally get started with home bartending, especially in this year where everything just feels like it's so overwhelming. There's so much content out there saying that you need all these different tools, all these different things like that. Really, there's only 4 tools you need, and they're all going to be linked in the description below, the exact tools that I use. The first one is going to be the jigger, and this one is from Barfly. The reason I like this jigger so much is that it contains so many different types of pours, so many types of different ingredient measurements, I should say. So with this one jigger, you can actually measure 1/2 ounce, 3/4 ounce, 1 ounce, 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces, 2.5 ounces, and then on the bottom side, you can actually measure 3/8 of an ounce. So that's 7 different ingredient pours with just one jigger, and this covers at least 95% of all ingredient measurements out there. There's only a few exceptions, like teaspoon, for example, which is just a standard household item, or the real other one that's a challenge, I would say, is 1/4 ounce. This only has 1/2 an ounce, so you could always just say half of 1/2 an ounce. That's going to be a 1/4 ounce. I actually have a separate jigger just to measure 1/4 ounce, but that's such a rare measurement, I would say, that you don't really need to go out and buy a second jigger just to do that, unless you're more intermediate or advanced. When you're first getting started, just buy this one jigger. This is the Barfly jigger. Like I said, it measures so many different types of pours. These are all the standard pours. Most drinks just call for 1/2 ounce, 2 ounces, 1 ounce, 3/4 ounce, all these different measurements. And this gets you all of that in just one jigger. So this is going to be the most bang for your buck. Then the second most important tool is, I would say, is going to be the shaker, and specifically the Boston shaker that I have here. This is the one from Corico, which is a sub-brand of Cocktail Kingdom. I would say Cocktail Kingdom is definitely one of the best brands out there for mixology equipment, for cocktail making equipment. And the shaker is definitely very versatile, and it's really stood the test of time. I actually had my first Corico shaker for about my first 2 years, and I actually gave it away as a gift to my friend, and he still has it to this day. And then at that time, I bought a second shaker, which is still the one that I have to this day. This one has lasted me over 3 years, and my original shaker is still going strong too. I just gave it away as a gift to one of my friends. After that, I would say the next most important tool is going to be the spoon. This one is also from Cocktail Kingdom. This is their stirring spoon. It also has a muddler on the end. And like I said before, the links to all these different tools are going to be in the description below. So this is going to be the workhorse for all of your shaken cocktails. And then a good stirring spoon is your workhorse for all of your stirred cocktails. So really with these two, or I would say with these three tools, the jigger, the shaker, and the stirring spoon, you're really covered in terms of measuring your ingredients for all different types of cocktails and then actually executing the technique. You have a high quality shaker for all of your shaken cocktails, and then you have a high quality stirring spoon for all of your stirred cocktails. And after that, the next most important thing is going to be ice. And I actually have the 1-inch ice cube tray from Cocktail Kingdom as well. That's going to be linked in the description below. I don't have it with me here. It's in my freezer currently, but you've seen it on, it's been on tons of my other videos as well. And that's going to be really the most versatile of all the different ice trays. It's one level up from the standard basic ice that you get either from the grocery store or from your fridge or from the standard ice cube trays that you probably have in your freezer right now. That standard 1-inch ice cube is versatile. It's used for low ball cocktails, high ball cocktails, shaken cocktails, stirred cocktails, build cocktails, whatever type of cocktails you're thinking of making. That one is going to get the job done. And you know, there's tons of other great tools you could buy. I would say the fifth most important thing is going to be the strainer. But really with just those 4 essential tools, which is going to be the jigger, the shaker, the stirring spoon, and then finally the ice tray. With those 4 tools, you really have yourself covered, especially when you're first getting started. You know, it's your New Year's resolution. You don't want to go break the bank and buy 10 or 15 different tools. I would say you really don't even need to buy 5 different tools. With just those 4 tools, you're covered for making cocktails in almost all types of scenarios. So if this is really going to be your New Year's resolution for this year, if you're really serious about home bartending and finally learning this hobby, then just go out and buy those 4 different tools: the jigger, the shaker, the stirring spoon, and then the ice cube tray. All those will be linked in the description below. Again, these are I probably didn't mention this already, but these are not affiliate links. These are just the tools that I have used and that I swear by. I've used all these different tools for over 5 years now, and they've served me over hundreds of different cocktails and probably thousands of cocktails, honestly, by this time. So, you know, that's why I mention them. I don't get any money if you guys go out and buy them, but these are just the tools that have served me well over these past 5+ years now. So that's going to be covering equipment. Then we go into ingredients. And if you watch all these other videos telling you guys like how to get started on home bartending, they're going to tell you to buy 10 different spirits. They're going to tell you to buy 5 different liqueurs. They're going to tell you to buy 4 different bitters. They're going to tell you to buy 5 to 10 different fruits and juices, and they're going to tell you to buy like 5 different syrups and all these different ingredients. I think that's all complete BS. I think to really get started with home bartending in terms of buying your ingredients, just pick one cocktail and buy the ingredients for that cocktail. And that's what I've demonstrated here. You know, the first cocktail that I made all the way back in June 2020 was the Negroni. And when I made the Negroni, I went to the liquor store and I just bought the 3 ingredients for the Negroni. I bought gin, I bought Campari, and I bought sweet vermouth, and then I went ahead and made the Negroni. And then the first cocktail video that I have on this channel is actually the cocktail that I think you guys should all get started with. If you're really confused about what cocktail you should make, in my opinion, you should go ahead and do the daiquiri. And the daiquiri just calls for these 3 ingredients, which are going to be rum, lime juice, and simple syrup. So, you know, you don't really have to go out and buy tens of different ingredients. You know, you don't have to go out and buy 10 different bottles of liquor and 5 different liqueurs and 5 different juices and 4 different bitters and then 4 different syrups, anything like that. Pick one cocktail and just buy the ingredients for that cocktail. Ideally, it's a cocktail that just calls for like 3 or 4 ingredients, so that way you're not really breaking the bank and having to really stretch yourself thin and go to all these different stores or buy things online and try to acquire these ingredients. Pick a simple cocktail, 3 or 4 ingredients. I think the daiquiri and the Negroni are great options. Just go out and buy the ingredients for that. And then once you finally master that cocktail, You serve that cocktail to yourself and to other people. You enjoy that cocktail. Maybe you throw at a party where the cocktail is featured on the menu for that party. Then go out and buy the ingredients for the second cocktail. Really take this as a stepwise approach. It looks kind of crazy because I have all these different bottles around here, but I did the same thing when I was first getting started. I built up slowly. I bought enough ingredients to make one cocktail, made that cocktail, understood that cocktail, mastered that cocktail, served that cocktail to other people, threw a party where that cocktail was on the menu, and then I went ahead and bought the ingredients for the second cocktail. Did the same thing for that. Then I went ahead and bought the ingredients for the third cocktail, and then the fourth cocktail, fifth cocktail, and then so on and so forth, so that over a long period of time, then I've acquired all these ingredients. So now currently in my bar, I have over 20 different bottles of alcohol. I have probably at least like 4 or 5 different juices, 4 or 5 different syrups, probably like 6 different bitters. So, I built this all stepwise. I didn't just go out to the liquor store and make $1,000 purchase where I purchased everything all at once. I did this slowly, picked one cocktail, made that cocktail, bought the ingredients for that cocktail, made that cocktail, and then did the same thing for the second cocktail and the third cocktail and the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th. So that over a very long period of time, I'm talking on the order of months to years, that's when I built up my bar to where it is right now. And that's the way I think you guys should do this because, like myself, you're home bartenders, you have busy personal lives, you have busy professional lives. You don't want this hobby to take over your life. You don't want this to take over your kitchen and your pantry. You use this for other purposes. You use it to feed your family, to cook, and for all your daily activities, things like that. You don't want this hobby to really take over, and you don't want to feel like you have to go out and buy all these different things to start your home bartending hobby. So really that covers ingredients. We already covered equipment. And then finally, the third area will be content. This is the same thing that I experienced. I felt overwhelmed. There's so much content out there. And I thought about getting into home bartending, I would say probably starting in like the early 2010s to mid 2010s, like 2013, 14, 15. And I finally made the push in 2020. And in the year 2026, there's only more content. This is only something that's going to be increasing as time goes on. AI became more popular last year. So now there's going to be tons of AI content on cocktails as well. Really, I think that, in terms of content as well, you should really simplify. You should pick one source. I'm of course biased, and I think that source should be my own channel. I created this channel with the intent of, if the entire internet collapsed, aside from my channel, if all books on mixology disappeared, aside from my channel would be all you would really need to get started on home bartending and to not only get started, to become intermediate home bartending and then finally advanced in home bartending. I created this channel with that intent to be something where, like, if there was nothing else out there, there were no other books on mixology, there was no other, YouTube channels, there was no other blogs or, TikTok or Instagram or any other content source out there for mixology. If my channel was the only thing out there, it would be enough where you would, not only do you have all of the recipes and all the tutorials on how to make specific cocktails, you also have all of these videos showing you guys exactly, what tools you should buy, what ingredients you should buy, what, things you should do, different guides on topics like ice and shaking cocktails and stirring cocktails and all these different things. I created this channel with that intent where, this would be all you would need to become a master home bartender. And, I would say one additional thing, I have this book here for a reason. This is the first book that I got. I actually got it as a present from my brother, and it's the Cocktail Codex. I think it's a great cocktail book, not only for beginners, but actually for intermediate and advanced home bartenders as well. It's a great recipe guide, and it also breaks down cocktails into different families and really talks about different ingredients. It talks about different techniques and all these different aspects of bartending that apply to both home and professional bartenders. I think it's a great book, I would say especially for beginners, but it's also great as you get more advanced in your journey as well. So if you really only buy one book on home bartending and mixology in general, go ahead and buy the Cocktail Codex. And of course, I'm biased, so I would say if you could only watch one YouTube channel on this topic, watch my own YouTube channel. And I'm still growing, so if I don't have videos yet on whatever topics or questions you want answered or things like that, or if I haven't made a video about your favorite cocktail or a cocktail you really want to learn, just go ahead and comment that down below. I'll really do my best to get videos out, answering your guys' questions and covering cocktails that you guys want to make as quick as I possibly can. So anyways, just to summarize, if in the year 2026, it's your New Year's resolution to learn home bartending and you want to get started, I really think there's 3 main areas in terms of what you need to get started. The first is going to be equipment, and you really only need 4 different tools to get started on home bartending. Those are going to be the jigger, the cocktail shaker, the stirring spoon, and the ice cube tray. And all those links will be in the description below, so you go ahead and make those purchases if you're really serious about getting into home bartending. Then the second area is going to be ingredients. What ingredients do you need to get started on home bartending? To really make this simple, pick 1 or 2 cocktails and just buy the ingredients for those cocktails. So for example, I've laid them out here. If you want to start with a daiquiri, buy rum, lime juice, and simple syrup. If you want to go ahead and do the Negroni, buy gin, Campari, and sweet vermouth. And then this applies to any other cocktail out there. Whatever cocktail you want to make, just buy the ingredients for that cocktail. Don't feel like you have to go out and buy 20 different bottles of alcohol and 5 different bitters and 4 different juices and 4 different syrups. None of that. Pick 1 or 2 cocktails and just buy the ingredients for those cocktails. Make those cocktails, master those cocktails, serve them to other people, and then move on to the next set of cocktails. And then do that so on and so forth, so that over a long period of time, like myself, you can take a home bar from 0 bottles all the way up to something like 30, 40 different bottles. So that covers ingredients. And then finally, the third area is going to be content. Of course, I'm biased, so I think that if you could only watch one YouTube channel, there's so much content out there. If you really want to make this simple for content, just go ahead and watch my channel. I gear this to be basically a one-stop shop for home bartending content. And if you want one great book that'll really supplement your journey and help you guys become better home bartenders, that's going to be the Cocktail Codex. This is the first cocktail book that I've had. And even to this day, 5+ years later, I still reference this book all the time. Great for recipes, great for techniques, great for guides on different ingredients, and tons of different mixology topics will be covered in this book, the Cocktail Codex. It's great for beginners, intermediate, and advanced home bartenders. Anyways, that's all I have for today's video. If you found the advice in this video helpful, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I really like to do 2 styles of videos on this channel. The first will be a tutorial style video where I show you all how to make a specific cocktail. And finally, the second style of video will be more general guides, tips and tricks, stories, answering questions, and different things like that I hope will help you all become better home bartenders. Thank you. Cheers.